This is Dickie, once again, the former spokesperson for the American Cultural Tradition and or American Cultural Memory Complaint Department, and the current head and or chief and or director of the Stochastic Intelligence Agency. Yes, indeed. And as you can see, today I am coming to you here, within, yes, I am here, and my location is, I am within a wave function. Yes, a wave function of quantum superpositions. And as everybody knows, I'm sure, including my guest, the symbol for a wave function is do you want to feel that one, Ms. McConnell? The wave, anyone? The Greek symbol for a wave function. It's also Greek. It's a letter, also a number. Mitch, are you there? Meow. Meow. Is that the cat? Is that the cat? Do you know, Mr. Cat? Meow. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, Mr. Cat. The Greek letter that symbolizes wave function is phi. Oh, no, psi, isn't. Sorry, I'm so used to saying phi as in a contract in phi through theta that I said phi when I should have said psi. Yes, it's psi. And we'll get to you later, Ms. Cat. But let me finish up my introductions here. Yes, so I am here in the midst of a wave function that is symbolized by the Greek letter and number psi, and I'm here also, both where I am and somewhere else, in the garden at Hudenstrasse 9, right? In both those locations at the same time. And what we're going to talk about today is precisely how I either can and or can't be in both those positions at the same time. And of course, my guest today to explore some of those issues in the first in a series that is titled The Quantum Superposition Conversations is, of course, anyone? Would you like to identify yourself there? Would you care to identify yourself, Mr. McConnell? Would you care to introduce yourself there, Mr. McConnell? Meow. Meow. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the information. You just have to take my word for it. There he is, and we're located in two different places and same place at the same time. If that's your particular interpretation of this paradox that we're going to be discussing today, it's referred to as Schrodinger's cat. Yes, indeed, named after Erwin Schrödinger, the famous physicist, yes, and physicist and pedophile, I guess. Today, not many people talk about that when they discuss Schrödinger's cat, but I guess Erwin Schrödinger, in addition to being interested in quantum mechanics, was well, let's just put it this way. I believe he died in 1961, but has he lived 20 years or more longer? Mr. Erwin Schrödinger, along with your president Donald J. Trump, would have been in the yes. What is it? Anyone? Mr. McConnell? Anyone? In the what files, Mr. McConnell? Meow. Oh, yeah, we got another response from the cat. Was that? Meow. Correct, yes, that is the Jeffrey Epstein files. He would have been there along with Donald Trump. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. And let's go ahead and explore what we. If Mr. McConnell, keeps refusing to answer some of my questions or failing to be able to understand them, perhaps we might have a long conversation with the cat. I'll go ahead and ask Cat what the cat's name is. Miss Cat, what should we call you? You have a name? Meow. Your name is Fritz? Seriously? I think I've heard of you sometime in the 70s or something like that. Meow. Okay, well, that's I guess, in some ways good to hear. I forgot to mention, I'm also located in this, what appears to be cube, some kind of cube, with all of the various and sundry mathematical references that go along with cube, the mathematical solids and all that good stuff, the platonic solids, and of course, what's made of the platonic solids by, maybe I'm there because we just created a new Pythagorean playlist, and maybe I'm there, for some other reason, I don't know, there's that Hawkwind record that explores all of those, that stuff that, Kepler did with it in the Harmonious Mundi or whatever it was, and this one he signed to this planet, and this one he signed to that planet, and all the harmonic relationships and stuff like that. So Hawkwind made that record, and they have color values, and they have planetary values, and they have sonic values, right? And that record is, of course, called Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti, Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, like that. But you don't have to sing it; you can just say Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do. And anyway, maybe a reference to one of those things, or let's see, is there anything else that we did with solids lately, or cubes? Well, obviously, it's a reference to the box, yes, indeed. Who let the cat out of the box? That song like that. And obviously, a reference to that, because we're going to be discussing how that cat got in the box, and who let it out, and what the interpretation is then. And Mitch, or Mitch McConnell, or whatever you could be called, we invite you on today because there are rumors that you're dead. And but some people say that you're saying that you're still alive. And if you were able to say that you were still alive, that would be evidence that you are alive, but you're not saying nothing here. And mostly that dead cat is speaking for you, and meow. That's pretty funny. I don't know if you understand what the cat's saying, but the cat just said that cat has dead cat friends. The dead cat has dead cat friends that are more lively than Mitch Mitchell is over here. Or not Mitch Mitchell. Mitch Mitchell was a drummer for Jimi Hendrix Experience, but this is Mitch McConnell. He doesn't look like he's going to be doing much drumming. But the reason we had you on, Mitch, is because we thought we'd explore this issue, this concept, this construct of Schrodinger's cat, and explore, whether this paradox helps us determine whether you're alive or whether you're dead, or whether you're a mixture of quantum superpositions where you're part dead and part alive. And Erwin Schrodinger, he thought that was a reductio absurdum argument, and it was supposed to point to some of the flaws in the way that other physicists and mathematicians of his era, and of course the era of Einstein, right, were interpreting some of these quantum mechanical constructs and notions in the face of reality. Now, one of the things about reality is this: reality can hold multiple contradictions, but the contradictions themselves, are subject to what some kind of consistency in the framework, through which an evaluation of multiple possibilities existing at the same time can exist. Okay, so here's what I'm saying, Mitch. Okay, so you at one point you like Donald Trump, and at one point you didn't like Donald Trump. At one point, what's your wife's name? Is it Elaine Cho or Elaine Chow or something like that? Okay, we're not getting a response to him. I'm just gonna assume that's right. Well, Donald Trump fired her at some point, and everybody left the administration. First, you wouldn't in that whole election 2020 debacle, or that election 2020 debacle, where you wouldn't recognize that Joe Biden had won the election, but then after January 6th, and everybody's getting a little nervous, and then resigned from the Trump administration, but then you're back on being a friend with Donald Trump again, even though he called your wife, some dirty names and stuff like that. Anyway, flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. Well, all the flips and all the flops can coexist in the mind, but the mind has recognized that it contains what? And the trope, right, that will hold all of these possible, they're not really quantum superpositions, but they're the psychological equivalent of quantum superposition, and these competing, Karl Marx, he would have said they're self-contradictory and lead to the internal logical collapse of the ideological system, from within. But the human being is not a consistent animal, as I'm sure you'll agree. Would you agree with that, Mitch? Okay. Anyway, and so all your contradictions and flip-flopping and all this, they can all exist, as metaphors of quantum superpositions, as long as you recognize they exist in the state of a contradictory and self-delusional mind frame, right? Okay, so that's one way of interpreting it, and then we're going to talk about that, and then try to give some coherence to this idea of you being both dead Mitch McConnell and alive Mitch McConnell simultaneously, and I guess another way to do that is to determine under which conditions, maybe there are different conditions. Okay, so for example, see a little cat there, Mitch? Meow, meow. Yeah, well, okay, so the cat. I'm not even sure if Erwin Schrodinger even really had a cat. He might have had a cat so that he could attract the underage girls, that he had some interest in. But who knows? Like I said, we're not going to get into all that. Okay, but anyway, depending on the light of day, right? This cat appears to either be a living cat or a dead cat, right? Okay, so there's conditions under which it's a living cat, and there's conditions under which, and we haven't even gotten to the box yet. We'll get to the box eventually, Mitch. Don't you worry. But we're not there yet, and. Hold on, hold your horses. You have to hold your horses, Mitch. You're not really very talkative today, Mitch, and but I guess that's been the case for a while. You want to add anything before I go on, or no? Okay, so talking about context, and we've talked about contextuality in terms of quantum mechanics before. You may want to go back to that video. It belongs to one of our playlists that involve Black History Month and great black music, but you can check that out all on your own. But the context for this cat, being either a living cat, meow, or a dead cat, meow. Yeah, thank you for that. Is alive, right? This kind of light is dead. This kind of light is alive. Okay, so and what we noticed about you, Mitch, and whether you're either alive or dead, or both alive and dead, which we'll get to the interpretation of those contradictory values, and what Erwin Schrodinger thought about that particular contradiction, and what Einstein had to say about it in terms of reality. Remember reality, Mitch? Back to reality, Mitch. Reality calling Mitch McConnell. This is reality calling Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, are we reaching you? This is ground control. Reality calling Astro Mitch. Calling Astro Mitch. Calling all Mitch McConnell. Anyway, you get the idea. So one of the contexts that we noticed, you seem to be alive when you need to make appearance so that people don't impeach you before the midterms. That was kind of interesting. And then, but when you have anything to do, like when there's a bill or something you got to sign, or being in Congress, doing your job, well, then you seem to be dead. So it's interesting to us that there is a similar thing going on with context in determining, which of these values, dead or alive. Mitch McConnell wanted dead or alive. Okay. Let's see. So these are some things we're going to talk about. I'm going to set it up, and then I've got some chores to do today because I also have a reality. In spite of the fact that I'm here with Miss McConnell at Garden Hohenstrasse 9, I also got some just local chores to do around the garden, and talking to a contract and fees through Theta, and the dogs and stuff like that. And so we're not going to be able to spend the whole afternoon with you, Mitch. I'm going to set this up now, and then I'm just going to let you and the cat hang out together for a while, and then we'll come back and we'll have our conversation. I was going to ask you, just before I leave. So we set up. We're going to talk about the flip flopping and whether that's an example of being dead or alive, or both at the same time, conversation like that. And then under what conditions, would Mitch McConnell be alive, and under what conditions would he not be alive, and whether you were ever alive or not. You were born in 1942, and I guess that makes you 1984. Your first Senate position, I believe, weren't you elected for that in 1984 too, and assumed it in 1985? You got a lot of Mitch. You got a lot of 1984s going on. Do you ever think about that David Bowie song in relationship to your current experience right now, being both dead and alive? Work it. It's real funky, Mitch. You like work it, and then it's got the little disco thing, like that. And then he goes, see, and we can say we can just talk about you right now. Dare Mitch go outdoors? He's 1984. Oh, and then more funky stuff. Dare Mitch go outdoors? He's 1984. You ever think about stuff like that, Mitch, or not? Not really, not so much. We kind of set everything up. I think we have, and we're going to talk about this and see if we can get you to provide. I'm still holding out that you're going to make some burbles or gurks and things like that. And we might even have to break this up in 2 or more conversations. This is just a setup, and then we'll see. I may come back and put it all together and see if we can't have too much conversation with old Mitch. We might just have to talk to the cat. We'll come back later. I wonder if we'll have the same lighting. All right. Well, once again, this is Turkey, and which name was? Oh yeah, Fritz. And Fritz the cat. And let's not call this signing out. Let's just call this taking a reality break for now. This is Turkey taking a reality break. As always, have a nice reality.